Howie here. 4:45 on Thursday. I'm done trading for the day. I'm done trading for the week because tomorrow I'm going golfing and then I have a meeting at 3, so my day is totally booked. So I will be doing no trading till next Monday at the earliest. So today was a frustrating day. The last 48 hours have been incredibly frustrating. I've had some situations and some moves where I feel like I'm just off, like I'm zigging when I should zag. I'm just missing the mark in a lot of spots. So I'll start with yesterday where I had the APH that I held overnight. This stock, I was in at 553 and it stop lossed at 541. And I made a video called the top 10 rules I'm going to have for trading. And I'll put a link up here somewhere so you can see it if you want. But I actually created a rule that says I'm not going to do a stop loss on a day trade that I hold overnight because of this exact situation. So I ended up getting up around 10:30. Not getting up, but I ended up getting into the market around 10:30. And as you can see, it gapped down a little bit overnight, and then it pulled down to 5:30 or so. And I stop lossed out around 541, 540, somewhere in there. And so when I got up, the stock was actually up here around 575, and I was happy and I was excited. I'm like, oh good, the overnight worked. Success, yay. And then as you can see, it continued to climb. One of the biggest days that this APH has had over the last several months. Huge upswing, obviously going up, pushing $1, 80, 90 cents, is a pretty big upswing on a $5, $6 stock, and I missed out completely because of my stop loss. So that was frustrating to start. Now I could have and probably should have not just been pissy about it and actually looked at this and said, okay, let's get back in. Sure, I had to sell out at 540, but this is looking like it's one of those positive days. This one of those rebound days for sure. I hadn't seen the APH looking like this in a while. So I could have very easily kind of jumped back in here at the 570, 580 and ran the rest of the way, made up for the loss and then some. And I know you're not really supposed to do this, but just take this APH. Imagine this didn't stop out. Just imagine in this spot at maybe 610, I decided to take my profits instead of there, and we go from an 854 loser to a nearly $4,000 winner. And that's just because, again, the stop loss was in place supposedly to protect me from losses, which I understand conceptually. That makes sense, but at the same time, for the volatility of the morning, like I would look at this and I would say 9 times out of 10 I'm going to get stopped out just because the initial volatility of the market in the first 5 or 10 minutes is extreme. So I just don't like it for me. And again, just for me, I'm not going to do it. So that was the first, I guess, trade that had happened before I even woke up. This HGD was another one that I put it in overnight. So I'll pull up HGD and sort of explain it to you what my thoughts were. Was it HCG? Was it H? No, it couldn't have been HCG. There's so many of these that have super similar acronyms. HGD. Where's that one? Oh, I must have deleted it. HGD. Keyboard not working. There we go. So, HGD. So here's what happened. Ah, good. It's on the 2-day. Let's look at 15-minute 2-day. So this stock ended yesterday around 867. And what I did was I put an order in at 8, I think right around end of day, or sorry, low of day for yesterday at about 860. Because I figured, again, I'm trying the system where overnight I'm making some purchases and looking to catch something on the low side during the first 5 or 10 minutes of heavy fluctuation, and then hopefully sort of get it low, hold on to it for some of that day and sell it. So I came in at 860, and immediately, again, by the time I got into the market, it was at 8.25. So basically, I woke up to two terrible things. One, I got stop lossed out of a stock that was up 30 cents and ended up going up almost 80 cents. And then part two was I bought and immediately lost, you know, I don't know, percent, at least 0.75% within 20 minutes of the market opening. As you can see, once this bottomed out, it didn't really move away from that 827. I sold off on that one for 833. So I just put a stop loss. So again, another $340 loss very quickly. Now from that point, I was annoyed and I was frustrated, and I probably should have called that a day. Honestly, I was not in a good mindset. I was annoyed, especially at the APH, but I was just not feeling very good with the whole situation. But I continued. So ENB, that you can see this twice. So this is an interesting stock, ENB. So I picked this up around 11 something. This is a stock that had gapped down. So let's pull up the day. So I was in here, somewhere in here, right? So I picked this up at 55.06, sold off at 54.95. So 55.06, somewhere in here around 11:30, and must have been in here, somewhere in here. So I'd seen this part coming down, pulling up, leveling off, and somewhere in here I decided I'd seen a lot of support at the $15 mark, or sorry, at the $55 mark. So I bought it just above, expecting a push up, and what happened was it broke through the $15 mark, and then I sold off on a stop loss. And then it went down another few cents, so it ended up going down. So it stopped me out at $54.95 for a $90 loss. And then it kept on moving, $54.90, and this time I didn't stop it nearly as quickly, and I didn't get out till $54.66, which was not very good. So I basically tried to buy this stock a couple of times. My feet are falling asleep. I sit on my knees, which is a bad habit I got into as a child, and often my feet will just fall asleep, which is bad. So that happened, and again, $90 loss, $180 loss, not very good. Then we move on to HCG, and this was interesting. This was one. So this is a stock that has been on the rise, certainly from a huge gap down that went from about $20 to $5 or $6, and has been rebounded ever since. So it's had three positive days in a row, including this one. So I got in right above the $10 mark because there was support again under $10. So I got in at 10.11. So we're going to go back here and we're going to look at around 10.11. So I got in here. I believe it'll be this candle right here. And we had a pull down into the 9. I sold off at 9.97. So I basically hit the low point for this entire period from 11 o'clock all the way through to close. It never hit this low again. So if I hadn't have hit my stop loss here, I would have been able to ride this into the mid to high 10s. Unfortunately, it just banked right at my 990, 996, 995, somewhere in there was the low point. So I bought up here somewhere and I got stopped out, and it just pushed. We had some movement here, and then push, sort of levelly, little movement here, but I mean, eventually it did sell off a little bit down to 940 near the end of the day. However, that was just an unfortunate that my stop loss was right at the bottom of that period of time. So again, this is another one. Let's say hypothetically I don't bank my stop loss. Let's say I put my stop at 992, doesn't get there. I can ride this thing up well into, you know, the 1070s or something. So this one Took me down 500 bucks. VRX, I traded 3 times near the end of the day. And VRX was a very active stock. It has been for several days. It gapped up a little while ago, and it's just been on the rise ever since. It had a down stretch there, but overall, you look, it's moved from 14.50 to 18, and it gapped up from 13. So a $5 upswing over the last 4 days is very impressive. So I thought I was done for the day. I wasn't planning on trading, but I saw VRX. Let's go to, I was actually looking at it on the minute charts. So let's move into here. Okay, so you can see this is closer to the end of the day, between 3 and 4, the last hour. It pulled down. I basically bought it about here, which is awesome. I bought it right at like 19. Let me pull it up. So I bought it at 18.97 the first time, and I bought it right in here, which is fantastic. And it tanked. Actually, the first time I got a 1 cent profit on it. I was messing around with it a little bit, and I came in. I was trying to do a few different things. I was trying to buy half of it, and then if it moved in my direction in a good way, buy the other half, sort of thing. So filling 2 parts separate. But unfortunately, that didn't work. So I ended up making, it says minus $2, but that's after the trade. I made like 16 bucks before fees, which is fantastic. And then I'm like, oh, I'll do it again. So I bought it. It had gone down quite a bit after I got out, and I bought it again at 18.85. And this is one where I actually bought it twice. I bought it first time at close to 18.90 something, and then it went all the way down, and I bought it again at like 18.60. And then what happened with that is it went all the way down to 18.30, then pulled up, and when it pulled up here to about 18.60, I put a stop loss for half of it at 18.47, I believe. And then it tanked all the way down again to 18.38, so the stop was hit. So I sold half of it at 18.47. Then it pulled up here, so I was involved in most of this, but then it started coming down, and I got out at 18.77 for my second half. So putting those together, it was 18.62 was the average sell. So I got stuck again, $484. But when I was sitting in the stock and it was just going down and down, I realized that I'm looking at level 2 a lot, and I'm looking at sort of trying to pick up trends for the stock, but I'm not really analyzing it like I've seen day traders do online, where they're looking for points of, you look at the 5-minute and you look for some pushback, right? So, and then you look at the 1 minute, for example, and you look for a spot. So I was thinking in my head, okay, when this second, because I was sitting there watching this entire trend, so I saw this downswing, I saw it pull back up, I saw it hit resistance, come back down, and when I saw this second pull up, like right in here, about 18.50, I thought to myself, if I were watching this and not pulling any triggers, that would have been the point that I would have bought it. When it hit the second down and it immediately sort of started to pull back up, I would have bought it at that point. So instead of like seeing it and within 3 minutes being like, okay, I want this stock, I need to start watching a stock and looking for certain maneuvers, looking for pullbacks from a low and things like that more often than what I have been doing, which is like seeing a stock, it's moving for the day, and I see level 2s that look like there's support, so I jump on in there. I think I do need to think about each purchase longer than I have been. So again, this is one that ended up finishing. I did a tiny little trade at the end of the day because I said I just want to have something positive, and I was able to pull it off. So right at the end, this is probably $3.50. I pulled a trade 18.82 and made 5 cents on it, so I had an $86 profit. So this has been a brutal situation to date. I've day traded 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 days. Today I traded 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I made 7 trades. So you can see I'm had some terrible days. Minus 3,000, minus 2,000. Overall, $8,400 stuck for the month. Average loss is $227 per trade. So I'm going to take the rest of this. I'm going to take a long weekend from trading. I'm going to really focus on my thought process and what I want to do, what I'm looking to accomplish with each trade, and think about them more and analyze them more and really come up with better reasons to buy than I have been, I think, is a big thing. Not just buying because I can. So anyway, that's my update for the day. I will likely not be doing anything more till next week, unless I think of a little rule video or something else like that. Questions, comments, all that. I'd appreciate some feedback, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.